ready?
Oh,
Yes, sir. That's drinking.
All right, welcome to the Spark.
hold on.
That clip is getting edited in.
Hey, this is the Spark of Madness. I'm Matt. That's Ben. Do you want to
That
introduce?
is Ben.
There's
Just
Ben.
me, you see.
Yeah. And there's Aaron. I think we'll be able to cut you in this time, Aaron. Whichever.
Oh, that's
footage
magical.
Ben,
Be
are
real
you?
lucky.
I'm trying to look in your sunglasses to see if you're like watching porn or something.
No,
Oh no, I'm watching you guys.
he's just hacking the database. He's in.
No.
So
So this.
you know what? Hold on. Do you know why I'm like this though?
Why are you like this?
You would think it's because of the Invisible Man, but it's because I'm protecting myself from the coronavirus. This is how I'm going to do it.
My God, he's genius.
I don't think anybody's going to look, sideways at me at all.
No.
That's
No,
why.
not at all.
Boy, that
That's
guy
what-
really cares about social distancing.
He does. He's a leader.
That's the kind of guy you let your daughter marry.
You're also like
Right.
pranking people by like kicking their butts and stuff and going invisible.
Hello,
Yeah.
Grandpa. How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No. So this week we're doing a flashback episode, kind of in advance of next week. This is part one, and next week we'll do the new Invisible Man,
The Hollow
that came out
Man.
this year.
No.
But this
not-
week we're doing the
not the
1933 one.
2000. Yes. With Claude Rains.
Sorry, what?
The 1933 one with Claude Rains.
Sorry, my audio cut out for like 2 seconds there.
That's right.
Nobody takes me seriously anymore, anyways.
I hope you say the most insightful commentary you've ever
Absolutely.
said. Yeah.
I have information about this movie.
So where to begin with this? I don't know. I thought what was interesting was the first note I had was that it starts with the NRA logo, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be most concerned about an invisible guy. You can't shoot him.
Or do they?
It's just the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
gotta
real.
prevent this from happening, see?
Imagine if you had a machine gun and you could just spray bullets everywhere.
I don't know. It depends on the gun.
Really
Really big bullets.
So what? I think I've seen this movie one other time. What about you guys?
Never before.
Oh, I've seen it plenty of times. I love this movie.
And how many is a plenty?
At least 10.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Pretty good. It was shorter than I remember, or like when I looked at the runtime. It's actually pretty short compared.
Pretty standard runtime for that time, as far as I
I
know.
mean, it was 1933. It's that was the heyday of
Hour-long
cinema in
movies.
terms of sound and orchestras. They're like
Yeah.
King Kong came out, I think, earlier, and it was the first score to a movie, actual score. So like this is like the very beginning of the talkies.
It had been around for a few years, but yeah, it's still the very infancy.
This is a time of cinema where it was a huge step of innovation to
Yeah,
kind of form the way cinema is now.
It's kind of the building blocks of what we know today were like much of them were placed in rapid fashion, and it was a huge advance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's mixed very well too. The sound, it was really good when I watched it too. Yeah.
And more impressive was the special effects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being 1933 seeing this? I mean, King Kong and then this. I mean, like that they really captured what an Invisible Man would look like.
They sure did. And gosh, those footprints in the snow and everything. We'll get to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool that you mentioned the special effects kind of off the bat. I mean, that's probably what people think of with this. I mean, even if you have a casual kind of understanding of what the movie's about, like, oh, how did they figure that out in an old movie? But you would think. I mean, it was a while since I'd watched this, but So I wasn't sure when they did the reveal when he was invisible. I couldn't remember. And they do it pretty early in the movie. Like they kind of give you
in the first few minutes.
a taste of it right off the bat. Yeah.
And that's the right kind of tease, because you can't be quite sure what you saw there, but they kind of say it in the title of the movie. So
I remember being a kid being like first watching, it's like, well, why does he have hair if he's invisible?
yeah, that was my thought too.
I wrote that down too.
But he pulls the wig off, when he's disrobing.
Very good.
The premise, I guess, is kind of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, and we did both of them, so I should remember this. But I mean, the first one is a little bit closer. But The Fly, isn't that kind of the same? Doesn't he have the scientist kind of mindset of trying to do something? Isn't it kind of the same?
Very similar.
What isn't the premise very like broad, as in what if we did X?
Yeah, it is, but it made him. Exactly. A scientist does this experiment with things that man shouldn't experiment, and he does it, but to a cost. His soul, his ever-eternal soul.
Does this mean we're going to do a short film where we put Ben in front of a green screen and tell him to vamp for 45 minutes?
We should.
That'd be good.
It'll get another 10,000 views or whatever.
As Frank Sinatra sings, stormy weather, the spiders and flies get along together.
I'd watch that.
He's going the distance, going for speed.
Choose Frank Sinatra or cake. It cannot be both.
Yeah, what is happening?
It's cake. It's both cake.
They're both cake. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cake song.
Well, so I
can have my cake in too, Aaron.
Okay.
I drew the comparison to The Fly a little bit, which I love that movie. This one like kind of ratchets up in a kind of a different direction, where it's like it's the accident that the cost or whatever gives him an advantage, but personally he goes crazy and like power hungry in a really interesting way, which I haven't read the book. Have any of you guys actually read the book?
No, probably should have. Sorry, Ben, what?
My eyesight's kind of vanishing. So I don't know.
Little inside baseball.
Smuckers. Smuckers.
Matt, it's described that the drug made him lose his mind, correct?
Well, I guess. I think he hinted at how it opened his his mind. He started to see things differently, and I guess you could infer that.
It did, because the older scientist, Clarence from A Wonderful Life. It's Clarence from Did you get that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's Clarence. He hinted at this one particular medicine that he thought that wasn't made anymore.
It made the dog go crazy.
Made the dog mad, you say. Mad, I tell you.
Turned him Snow White and made him go nuts. Yeah. And how did they... It's a side tangent sort of thing, but in Hollow Man, they say that the inability to sleep because his eyelids are transparent made him go crazy, right? Does anybody remember that?
I haven't seen Hollow Man, so
okay.
Yeah, I do.
It's
a really unfortunate
scene.
That movie. It's quite terrible in that movie.
Yeah,
you remember that scene? That's like whoa.
There's a few scenes in that movie that are like whoa.
Yeah.
I think that was the point.
Yeah.
Back to Hollow, or no, not the Hollow.
Anyway.
You want to keep talking about Hollow Man?
Back to the Invisible Man.
No, we're talking about the Invisible Man, 1933.
What I thought was interesting was that he started in a very practical place. He had a bunch of different angles that I liked a lot. So for one, he felt like he could sell all of this. Sell his, once he figures it out, if he figures out how to go back, he can sell his invisibility potion to like the highest bidder, and people can take over the world. So he had that.
Yeah, his heart's in a good place.
Yeah, but then they showed his wife. Was that his wife? I might have missed that part.
It was his fiance.
Yeah. He explained that he was motivated to make more money because he felt bad about himself and he wanted to give her things, which wasn't the strongest. But then
He could afford a fancy chemistry set, couldn't he?
Well, eventually he becomes like the most realistic, I think, or the most interesting, maybe. He becomes kind of the power hungriness and his ability to take advantage of people just overcomes him. And to the point of him being just a great actor, that was, I think, the strongest part of the movie.
Claude Rains.
Him,
when he was running around messing with people, cackling, that got me. It was funny.
Well, if you notice something, the way he laughs, I think Joaquin Phoenix stole that laugh for the Joker.
I thought, well, I don't know if he stole it, but it sounded just like it. It sounded just like it.
Wouldn't be surprised if there were some ties there.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the second time I put in, shoot, what's that director's, Ryan Johnson laughing?
Do it. Don't do good laughs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go with me.
Let's go back to the start of the movie, because there were a couple things I thought were. I thought it was. I thought the lady at the inn at the start was unbearable.
Oh yeah, she was a shrill.
Okay.
Person.
I don't like her either. She's the worst part about it. But you know what? So the director of this directed Frankenstein and Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, cool.
And she's in that too. And I hate her. But she's a character actor that is over the top, and he loved her. I think that's why he put her in this movie too.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say that her performance was bad. The character itself is insufferable.
That's what I'm saying. Like I hate that over the top. Now, that being said, there's a movie called Gods and Monsters. You remember that movie with Ian McKellen and Brendan Fraser? Well, Ian McKellen is supposed to play this director, but they talked about camp, and this director kind of created camp. He loved camp, like, and it was kind of like.
Oh, I don't blame him.
You can kind of see it, and this movie is pretty funny. There's some really funny stuff, and he has a lot of dark humor and funny stuff that he's did. You know, he's a very good director for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense story-wise. Well, in context, it makes complete sense because you see that the other character, her husband character, hates her, or at least he seems to tolerate her.
Yeah. No, she was annoying.
Sure, I have to go up there.
The other best part of that early sequence is the first cop. Well, he's invisible.
Go give me a chance.
So nonchalant about.
You know, he did. You know, when they wanted to investigate him to see, like, to plan their thing, they had a net for the whole room. Like, that's smart how they did that. You mean where they net the room, make sure he wasn't in there. You know, so there's some cool things that they did.
I thought that when the whole police force came to kind of the perimeter of the building and they joined hands and stuff, I was like, I never would have thought of that. But for some reason, watching, I was like, oh, that's really clever.
I mean, that's the only way to do it when it's, you know, that time. What else would you do?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would we do now? Probably the same thing.
So I guess Vincent Price.
Eat signatures.
Vincent Price played. They made another one later on of Invisible Man, and Vincent Price played him, but he wasn't as. He was more malevolent than malevolent.
Was that one of the ones where it was like Return of the Invisible Man or something?
I think it might be that one. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's quite a few of them actually.
There are, but that was the direct sequel, like the direct one, like the one right after this one.
He is who I would pick to play that role.
Yes, very young Vincent Price. Yes, I'm the Invisible Man. I'm going to scare you.
I won't touch you. I promise.
I'm
Let's see.
I also really appreciated I got down to the point where, so this is now after he's kind of met with a bunch of different people, and he's circled back up with Kemp, who was his partner.
He loved his wife, Kemp, his partner, but he loved his wife. He loved his future fiance.
Okay, hold on. Pause. This meeting has it has been upgraded. It tells me. It put a nice big text box right there.
Yeah, it did it for
Carry
me.
on.
Yeah,
it did for me too.
So
hey, hold on. Go back to your positions.
Okay, go.
Anyways, he wanted to steal his fiancée and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Good luck editing that together, Matt.
Maybe I'll leave it all in. Yeah. So I'm going to use that as the transition. This is a good time to sponsor. We'll just throw Tubi on.
Tubi!
While we talk in the background. Yay, Tubi.
Tubi.
Put another big Tubi logo out.
So he's circled back with Kemp, and as Ben just said, Kemp has his own kind of ulterior feelings about his fiance or whatever. And this is when he starts to kind of elaborate on his big plan we're going to just rain terror and we're going to murder people. And it's going to be, it's very Joker. It is very Joker almost. Like he wants to approach things from like a chaos perspective.
Yeah, you can tell he's really approaching this from the scientist sort of mindset.
My hypothesis.
Just zeroing in on a point you made earlier. Never mind me.
Does anyone want to play poker?
I think you would win, buddy.
What I was getting at, this builds. He ultimately has a. If you had the Dino shades that one guy had in the World Series, I liked when he explained the rules that he'd figured out. That like. If he eats, it'll stay in his body and you can see it or whatever.
Every dirt gets on him, he's done for.
Got my fingernail.
He needed a partner. He was still a huge weakness to it. You know what I mean? You couldn't just go out in the day if it was a foggy day. A lot of
contingencies.
Yeah, it made sense.
It's almost like it was too much work. Probably should have done something else, like make a big laser gun or something. Just saying.
He murdered a bunch of people in trains.
Yeah.
I mean, the body count goes up really fast.
It kind of does. This is like Commando.
Yeah, so he kind of goes on like a little killing spree. The train scene that just he changes the switch track or whatever, and it just goes off a cliff. Well, I don't know why there would be why you would build that into the rail tracks as a possibility, but
Well,
science!
He just wasn't finished yet. That's all.
They show him like 5 years earlier, like getting a job it's all part of his master plan. He was a railroad construction guy.
Shouldn't we build something at the end of this railway? No. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah.
Quiet, Sullivan.
I thought the car off the cliff was really good. I thought that was
that didn't look like a model. Those flames looked like they were to scale.
But so the director had more freedom on this film, I think, than he did with Frankenstein. Excuse me. And there's similar things in Frankenstein. There's the guy, there's the other guy that's in love with Frankenstein's fiance. And but nothing happens to him, and he wanted them to have all their comeuppance and stuff. You know what I mean? He wanted to take it to places, and that the screams in the 1930 movies like that, what they do like in the microphone for like long shots like that, are always terrifying. Because that reminded me when he was screaming out the car. It reminded me of the most terrifying moment of a kid when I watched King Kong, when the Brachiosaurus gets the guy, and it's all quiet, and you're you hear that grown man scream is the worst terrifying scream in the whole world as the Brontosaurus eats the guy.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot to make a grown man scream like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like falling off a cliff in a car, that might do it.
Mm-hmm.
As you were tied up and like hung by strings over into the back seat.
I'll do it.
I wish I had a pipe. Well, all
right. Any
Tubi, please sponsor us. We stay on topic.
Yeah. What did you guys? The last thing I had was, what did you guys think of the ending where they kind of tie it all together with kind of that line on his deathbed? So we could talk about the tracks in the snow if you want to.
Maybe I'm a complete plebeian, but making him sympathetic in the end completely falls flat for me. Because, I don't know, he was kind of bad, start to finish.
Yeah, he was just kind of a dick too at the very start before it really got bad. He was just kind of mean.
Yeah, why should I care about him?
Like he never got better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can believe that he was better before he turned invisible, but that's no excuse to act like a jerk.
So the last line is like, I should never have meddled in something we weren't meant to, or whatever. What a great line.
Yeah,
read.
sure. Hindsight is great.
That was exactly. I want to see that in text in H.G. Wells' book. We shouldn't meddle in stuff or whatever.
I want to know if that sort of ending was part of the book, because it feels like something thrown in by Hollywood executives.
It's an H.G. Wells thing. He wrote War of the Worlds and stuff, so it sounded like an H.G. Wells thing.
I can believe it. I still didn't like it.
But. So I'm just going to read the very end. The invisible man's battered body gradually becomes visible as he dies. This is from the book.
Okay.
Pitiable in the stillness of death, a local policeman shouts to have someone cover his face with a sheet. So it's the same ending, but I don't think he's, at least in terms of the Wikipedia summary, it doesn't put the
so there's no
line.
hospital sequence, so that was probably added.
Yeah. I don't know. There's certain times to sympathize with your bad guy, and I don't think this was one of them.
Yeah, so my thought, because I liked the line. So the line is, "I meddled in things that man must leave alone." I liked that line. The fact that they took him down an angle that was more like everything he said out loud, these power hungry moments of people bowing before me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was all. That all tied together to how they wrapped it up. But then, like what he actually did in terms of like killing people and even robbing a bank, he just dumped the money out. Like I didn't feel like it necessarily tied together, but I kind of liked it. I was okay with the ending, actually.
The prankster stuff wasn't so bad, but killing people on the other hand.
I thought the prankster stuff was just stupid.
The ultimate prank, isn't
it?
Yeah,
but I think that's
You're dead.
That's the beauty in the film. That's the fun in the film.
Because he's insane, yeah.
But he's insane, but also you, the audience, laugh at them. Like things that you would probably do if you were an invisible man that's not crazy, like some of the pranky stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like that's we want to see that on cinema. Like
I get those. I liked those.
Like he's dancing around like with it, like walking around the mulberry bush, whatever he said.
Yeah.
Early in the morning. Woo.
Little do you all know I'm naked.
I liked that I think the most successful invisible man where is he in the room? Because that was one part that I feel like they could have done maybe a little bit better job. The paranoia of where he is. They had people in certain scenes kind of mention it, like he could be in the room right now, but it never really was a threat. I think
maybe you should show some false positives,
Yeah, I think the paranoia part was one I would have liked them ratcheted up, but I thought they did a really good job of it when they did the Kemp sequence where he got it. He followed him all the way through the plan because he was in the room, and then he got in the car, and that's when Kemp dies. I thought that was the best version of that.
And they were paranoid in the wall with the cat and stuff. So they did a little,
a little bit, yeah. Because
It's
I think that's ultimately the most interesting part of this story. In like they kind of turned it on to the scientist, but there's also an interesting angle of the people who are freaked out. And they had that scene where everybody's locking their doors and stuff. But yeah. Anyway,
you know what I like on that picture behind you, Matt? The way the wraps are done on him, it almost looked like a skull nose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know quite how to connect that metaphorically, like the old him is dead sort of thing.
And then when they pulled it into the very end, and they showed when he kind of rematerialized or whatever, I thought that was cool.
Skull a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
So like the layers of him are coming back.
And I guess they improved it in the Vincent Price point when they had like more veins and stuff, But yeah, for cinema, it's amazing. The special effects are amazing. So how they did it was they shot on black velvet. They shot his face with black velvet and did a double.
Knew it.
And filmed it twice, and they removed the black. So it's a rudimentary green screen.
Yeah, it's a luma key.
It did it. It's amazing how they did it.
Looks really good.
It's the process is different then, but the effect is the same. It has
and then
to do with exposing the blacks as clear.
And then they had the the practical effect with the foots and stuff, and like
those I don't know how to do.
No, it's amazing, and like how the way he fell like made sense. He got shot, the timing, and it falls into the snow.
Same effect as singing the Invisible Swordsman and the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
There were a couple. The sequencing of how they pulled strings or whatever they did to knock things over or move things around. I thought the sequencing was really good and
all well done.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty solid. There was one scene where he was attacking everybody at the start when he attacked the police guy and the others that came into the room that I thought was kind of like,
but what
people
else
pretending to get hit in the stomach just kind of looks dumb. But when they moved things around, I thought it was really good.
In those days, what else could you do?
Yeah.
I mean, it was no Avengers, but whatever. The Infinity War eats the shit out of this.
So let's rate the movie.
You know what? What's with the blue and black and white? I was gonna expect subtitles.
I'm gonna use that line from now on when we rate a movie. Hey, it's no Avengers. I'll give it a 4.
I'll give it a 4. Well, I guess I'll go on a leap and go first.
Okay, go for it, man.
I was between a 7 and an 8. And I think just from talking about it, I'll just for the sake of everything it put forward, I'd ultimately give it an 8. The strongest part I think is, we barely mentioned it really, is that it's the performance, I thought, which I think
Claude Rains
pulls it all together, especially when you're not on screen hardly at all.
Can I tell you something about this? Is his first debut in American cinema, and he never gets to be seen until the end. And there was big controversy because I don't like the way he looks. And the director, I don't care what he looks like. His voice sounds amazing. Like, so it's the whole thing, and he's amazing. Claude Rains has been in. I love him. His other most notable role was him as the inspector in Casablanca. Remember him, like Louis? It's Louis, right? This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship at the end.
So what's your rating, Ben?
I give it an 8 as well, because I love this movie, and this is the first time I've seen it in years, and as an adult watching it, I had a different perspective, and I love it. I thought this is great cinema, great filmmaking, and such a competent director. And then I found out what else he directed. He directed Frankenstein. He directed this. He directed the Bride of Frankenstein, which is supposed to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And the score is amazing in that too. But it's just really good cinema. They didn't waste time.
Yeah, they really didn't.
No.
Aaron, what about you?
I probably should have gone first. I think I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. I do think everyone should see it, but I think that the movie is it's pinned on 2 things: the Invisible Man's performance, Claude Rains, and the visual effects, and not much else is terribly special. But what they do well, they do extremely well. So it gets major points for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm careful not to give it too many points for visual effects, because we don't do that for movies nowadays. Why would we give them points for that? It's not a good movie just because it looks good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I don't remember what our numbers are, so I'll just ask just from memory. Just because
Avengers, 12 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm thinking about not just because it's black and white, but just general time frame. And what is this better or worse than The Third Man?
Worse.
I can't. I'm not gonna rate him.
His number's on file somewhere.
Yeah, to me, I think I ultimately would give it to this one, but I also just have to acknowledge I probably like movies like this more. So I can't
they're
tell.
too different. They're two different movies. I don't think I don't like comparing two different things. Now, if we compare this to Frankenstein or even King Kong, that's closer, but still two different things.
Well,
I'd like to say I probably gave The Third Man a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, but The Third Man came out in the 40s, like later 40s. It was the 50s. I forget. Late 40s.
It was late 40s, I believe.
Yeah, this is the complete. Like, you can't judge it. You can't do that.
Well, I wasn't posed the question. I simply answered it.
It's true, but Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever, and he can beat anybody today.
I mean, he's no Avengers, but he's 4 out of 10.
No, he's not. No, I've seen better CGI on LeBron James.
Thor could basketball better.
Well, hopefully, next week we can actually do a comparison, because next week we'll do The Invisible Man, as part of our attempt, I guess, even during quarantine, to still do some new movies.
Yeah.
So
is it available on Tubi?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Maybe Tubi can hook us up, though.
Yeah. Come on, Tubi. What are you doing?
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week.
Do you think?
Ben, before you say anything, are you really using that mask as a preventative measure against the virus?
I sure am.
But we've flattened the curve. Are you sure you're not overreacting?
What? So you think I'm overreacting, do you? You country bumpkins. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you who's overreacting. I'll show you. Okay. It takes a long time to get this. Okay. Oh, here we go. Glasses. Well, I'll show you. Well, who's overreacted now? See? I told you I needed this gauze. I needed the protection from the coronavirus. Well, I told you. What do you think, Matt? What do you think, Aaron?